Christians. In John chapter 8, verse 9. Verse 9 follows Christ in his dealings with the adulterous women brought to him by the Pharisees and the scribes. And then Christ responding to them when they tried to test him by telling them, "He who has not sinned, let him cast the first stone at this woman." Now, legally, she could have been condemned by the law. But Christ did not condemn her. And when he made the famous statement, "He who has no sin, let him cast the first stone," it says in verse 9 that when those heard it, being convicted by their conscience, they went out one by one, beginning with the oldest to the youngest. Now, here's the thing. Knowing what we know now, that Christ is an advocate, our mediator between us and God, the one who keeps us from being condemned by God. Why did none of these people, after seeing that he had got this woman spared of the condemnation she was owed, why did none of them flee to him and beg for forgiveness and seek him to mediate on their behalf as he did with her? No, that's not what they did. They were convicted in their conscience, but not to the point where it would drive them to their knees before Christ. They were convicted in their conscience, but they went away from him. This is why we can never confuse, or we can never look at the outward act of a person's how they respond to sin and with the violation of offenses or the violation of God's law. We can't look at that and make an assessment on a person's true heart. These people's consciences were affected, but they went away. Instead of seeking the forgiveness of Christ, instead of seeking for him to do for them what he did for this woman. I find it absolutely amazing. The scriptures makes it clear they were convicted in their conscience. Outwardly, they had a modicum of repentance, but it didn't bring them to Christ. It did not bring them to Christ. It drove them further from him, seeing that he could save them from their sins. Be provoked, be persuaded.